This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and wow. And you are here for today's edition of the Pit Stop. And it's funny, I was already thinking about the first thing I was going to talk about today, and I'm watching your guys' chat. And this is one of those days, and I'm in the best of moods, even though I don't feel all that great. But just one of those days where, like, I'm starting the show and I'm like, do I have everything ready? What have I forgotten? Today is one of those days where, like, the brain is slipping. I guess it's Friday, so we're on to the weekend now. And that definitely sets us in a good mood and gets things going right. So I'm going to change up the order today, and you can probably see the little teaser under my thumbnail on the image here. You guys are already talking about it. So today's news we are going to start off with, which is an unfortunate topic. So there's an article here at The Drive, and this is all over the internet. It's probably all over Reddit and everywhere. And it's an article talking about ex-Formula 1 driver, GRC champion, Scott Speed under fire for intentionally causing crashes in iRacing. So it's an interesting story, and there are a few different ways of looking at it. I've read the article because I found it very entertaining. There is a video clip of, can we play it? Yes, we can. And some of the things that Scott has done. This is another streamer streaming his race. And how long does this take? It's not very long, so let's go ahead and blow this up. So this will give you an idea what's going on. This is Jake Hewlett. Oh, what was that? Oh, how unfortunate. How it is to fall from grace. Whoa, what was that? Did you see that? Anybody get a license plate on that truck? Anyway, so the point of the article goes on to say this isn't the first time, but that apparently Scott Speed has quite the reputation for intentionally taking people out in iRacing specifically. And I saw people talk about his demeanor when he was with Toro Rosso, or when he was in NASCAR, or ARCA when they took him out for hitting Stenway. The guy seems to be a little bit of a hothead. I mean, you can't say much negative about Scott Speed's actual driving talent. The guy's a very accomplished and very good driver. But, man, what's up with that? Cool down, buddy. Anyway, the other part of the article goes on to say that he hasn't been, reprimanded by iRacing. And in Nim Cross's words, he told whoever had sent it in, file a complaint in the proper iRacing manner, and we'll look into it. Anyway, it's really too bad to see that Scott Speed can't be more respectful. And when you're talking about iRacing, you're talking about sim racing, and we take it oh so seriously. Here's him literally waiting to catch up to a car who he felt had hurt him. And I'm probably not even supposed to be showing these, but I'm the media, and I'm showing you what the Drive showed. So this guy had apparently rear-ended him earlier. Scott waited for him to come around and gives a little bit of payback. Anyway, it's a shame, and you know what sucks also is I guess there's one statement. I am going to say this because I don't like mean people. I don't like people who think they're better than others, and I don't care if you're Scott Speed. You're not better than anybody else on this planet. But at one point, there was a quote from him that he had replied to somebody's Twitter response to something, and oh, here it is. Yet he couldn't resist mixing it up with his detractors again, poking fun of a commentator by saying he was going back to making a living racing. In other words, bye, loser. You go back to your sim racing. I'll go back to making real money. Anyway, I'm not trying to pile on Scott Speed. In my opinion, it's more of a shame than oh, look at you, Scott. Come on, have some class. In real life, online, offline, I mean, geez, I'm tired of people who just can't be right. We all get to be mad. We all get to be angry. But at the same time, let's keep it under control, people. Anyway, okay, so that is the Scott Speed story for you. And I'm going to go one step further and not to advocate what he's done. But I think one of the biggest differences between winners and the rest of us, and I'm not going to call us losers, is that winners will do whatever it takes, and they don't care who they shit on to get what they need. I don't know why, and I wish sometimes it was different, but I have that sportsmanship gene built into me, and it's like, oh, I took you out, let me pull over and let you go ahead. Very gentlemanly. You know, if I got out a boxing match, would it be like one of these, like it's the 1800s? I don't know. It's a fine line between being an asshole and being a champion. That's what I'm going to say. All right, let's get on to the regular news. I just couldn't stay away from that because it was something I heard about. It was sent in to me by a few people that I have to thank here today, and it's all over the internet. You guys were talking about it. It's everywhere. Anyway, I want to throw a few thank yous, and I'm going to get to the news, but I've been cruising. The Man, Yamanel Diaz, Bert Jansen, Chris Shelton, and Tom Montpas have all sent stories in today to make today's show full. We have a big show. So, my video's not working, so they're not going to get a whole lot. But Forza is promoting their big Raptor, the Ford Performance Raptor. I have to tell you, I love the Raptor truck. I think they're just really bitchin' trucks. Do I need it in my sim? Maybe if I had a good off-road. And to be fair, this is no trophy truck. This is not an off-road truck. I mean, this is not a trophy truck. You don't jump Raptors. And if you look on the internet and look up Raptor jumping, you will find fail after fail after fail video. But I do love the Raptor. And if I was a wealthy guy, I'd be in my consideration for a big truck if I was getting a new 4x. And it is in Forza Motorsport 7. So, congrats on that. A couple things on iRacing, and I alluded to it yesterday talking about GRC and World of Outlaws getting the World Championship level racing, but the seasons are all starting. So if you want to get in iRacing, get up the ranks, and you want to make a run for World Championship level racing in any of the disciplines, you got to get out there at the beginning of the season and start making some points. So it's all getting going. Get out there, compete, have fun, set goals, achieve them. Here's a thing from Formula One. Brandon Lee, as we know, he is in Riyadh at the ROC, which went on this morning. We're going to talk about that in a little bit later in the show. But they have a promo here because he is the F1 eSport champion. So this is Codemaster's guy, indirectly, and they're just giving him a big good luck and talking about how much he's been working, getting ready for this whole competition, which, again, we're going to talk to. I didn't get to see the eSport, but I kind of heard what went on. Here's a picture of our buddy Rudy Van Buren. This is the world's fastest gamer Twitter. Some shots of him in the rigs. Now, of course, he didn't have to compete. This was him just sort of doing some media stuff, showing these guys how a sim racer would handle the situation. Here he is being interviewed at the rig. And, you know, Rudy's journey continues on. We had a video here that was another... Oh, come on. Oh, we already saw that. That was the Riyadh itself video. So lots of good things going on there. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Isle of Man, they've stepped it up. Instead of it just being one of these photos that we can spin around. Oh, now we get to really get excited. Because we have... I'm sorry, that just brings a smile to my face. I'm really looking forward to playing TT Isle of Man. So, coming. It's coming. We're going to talk more and more about that one, I think. Game or sim, it probably won't matter too much. We already talked about poor Scott Speed. I did share the track with Scott Speed once, way back when. Stars of Karting days, Vortec 120, or ICC shifter kart racing. And he was at a different level, but we were at a practice session at the track at the same time, and I will say he was quicker than me, but not by as much as he would think. I held my own. Reuters, this is the biggest media outlet in the world, and they've launched a new wire, as they refer to it, that's dedicated to esports. So, we talk about the growth of esports, we talk about its direction, sim racing being on the coattails of esport in general, but it is getting this serious. It is going to be everywhere you turn. It's going to... Give it another year, give it another 2 years, and eSport is going to start getting coverage on the news, rivaling pro sport. Now, pro sport's still going to have the dominance on television. I did play Ride very, very briefly, Sim Guy. I don't remember it that well, but I do remember Dennis, that was high pitch, but that was the flyby sound as well. Tom Jones has raced against Sean Cole. Thank you, Randy. Thank you. So there we go. Next up, oh, this is Brandon Lee. And so again, as he goes to Dubai, to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, I believe, he is, what's great or fascinating about this kid, and I say kid, he doesn't even have a driver's license. He had to literally go learn how to drive a car just to go down there and compete in this competition. So that gives you an idea, and the huge range that we have in sim racing between drivers, and even at the highest level, a huge variance. Hey Rob, how you doing? Thank you all for being here today, by the way. Happy Friday to all of you guys. Yeah, it is Friday, MW. GT Planet talking about the sales charts, PAL sales charts, and the two notables for us is, and the big rivalry, Gran Turismo 4 versus Forza Horizon. And Forza had been leading the way, but this is the moment that Gran Turismo is pulled into the lead. And if you look at the amount of content coming out for GT Sport, that's no surprise. But we're looking at 13th and 15th overall on the sales charts for all of console gaming, really. Yesterday, we talked about grid girls. We talked about F1 getting rid of grid girls. We had an example of a grid girl who was not happy about it. Here's another whole article, and this one is here by Michelle Westby, who goes on to talk about how much she loves being a grid girl and the opportunities and doors that it has opened. Because, like being a model, it's like being a model, but instead of it just being a cameraman, you're exposed to a great variety of people. And these women come in with talents that far exceed their looks in many cases. And she's gone on to many great things, including being a stunt driver, drift competition driver, and other things. She's not happy about the grid girl whole situation as well. So we're not alone in our being upset. And again, I think it's just a massive overreaction to modern culture. I think that's the best way I can word that. Microsoft responds to indie retail backlash over Xbox Game Pass. They've been holding out on certain indie developers. That creates outrage. We talk about Microsoft considering buying Steam. Steam is the home to so many independent developers. So when we talk about the threat and the way Microsoft, you know, Microsoft's funny. You think about the Xbox and the decisions they made on backward compatibility or what you do and don't get with a Game Pass. And they constantly make bad decisions and then fight the backlash of public opinion and then retract their decision or modify it. But it is scary because Microsoft, I mean, no denying, they're one of the global dominating companies. And if they want to get involved and have a say in what goes on, they have that power. So, as a counter story, I don't know how dated this is, so if I'm really old on this topic, please forgive me. But there was talk about an Atari release last year. So Atari, we were joking about some old school games the other day with that Guinness Book of World Record. This is where it started for me. Actually, there was a system right before the 2600 that was just the Pong. This is the first real console game that ever happened, in my opinion. There might have been others that tried or coexisted, but the Atari 2600 is where it all started. And this is what made me not have to pay quarters to play in an arcade. Anyway, there is a video of some, like, looks, and I remember seeing this, so my question to you guys, I don't know. Did they ever do it? Did they ever get an Atari? Pong Magnavox Odyssey. Yes, there you go. Did Atari ever accomplish this? Did we ever see a new system out of them? I don't recall seeing it. That was a year ago that this video was put out. And am I wrong? Am I mistaken? So anyway, that's just a cool thought, because it'd be nice to see some of the other big names from the day get back to it. If Atari entered the market, then Microsoft, PlayStation, or to be Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo need to really, it's going to make them up their game. We look at our Sim Pizza, how each one pushes the others. You know, iRacing has this huge pressure on them to add day to night transitions. Why? Because others already have it. Things like that. So, anyway, that's my thoughts there. I'm not going to go into detail on a few of these stories, but YCC F-Tech has a story here about why it's taken so long for Rocket League to get support on the Xbox One X. And what's interesting is that Rocket League is actually one of those titles that is leading the way on cross-compatibility. And if you don't know, when we talk cross-compatibility, what we're talking about is working on multiple platforms together. So, whereas, like, F1 2017 came out for just every system, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, the works, but you can't play against each other. Rocket League is leading the way, and yet it's being very delayed coming to the Xbox One X. So, I know a lot of you out there do play Rocket League. This might be a story you care about, and as usual, I have all the links to all of today's topics at thesimpit.com. Here's another story. I'm not going to go in detail, but it's just a story talking about girls behind the games. And as we sit here as a male-dominated market, and I think each sim will have a much different percentage of girls to guys. Racing is predominantly male. Gaming is predominantly male. You combine that, you're going to have even lower numbers. But the article goes on to say there are polls that put women's gaming anywhere between 42% that the U.S. video game industry says, but according to the International Game Developers Association, it's only 22%. When you think of girls gaming, and I don't mean to offend any sim racing girl as a kick-ass sim racer, but when I think of girls gaming, I don't think they gravitate to the same games as guys all the time. I mean, in the article, they even have a picture of Sonic, you know, so they made the point that I don't have to now say. And I think you're all smart enough to know what I'm getting at. Yeah, and they might be, Nadella. That's kind of what I was getting at as well. But, you know, the old joke used to be that somebody who was a girl online playing games was really just some guy portraying himself being a girl, and that might not always be the case. So, alright, let's talk Riyadh. Let's talk ROC. Let's talk what's going on. I did not get to see the ROC race. It happened this morning before I woke up. Or competition. Just to let you know and give you a rundown on how it played out, you had the 4 sim racers battling it out. They were going to be joining Rudy Van Buren in the real-life competition. The winner would be. So the 4, and we talked about Enzo Benito, and we talked about Brandon Lee. And they did a combination of on track, so they got to drive the cars, and sim competition. And basically, it's a points-based competition to narrow it down to 2, and then a head-to-head for the winner. In the first competition, the first round, Enzo Benito basically won every round that he competed in and finished with 24 points out of a possible 24 points. Just dominated. Then when it was and then in second place was Brandon Lee. When these two went head-to-head, apparently Enzo edged him out in, actually, Enzo lost the sim drive by a fraction of a second and then completely won on the real-life driving one. Enzo's never raced a real car, but he does have a driver's license. Brendan Lee doesn't have a driver's license, to keep it in perspective. But Enzo Benito is the winner of the competition. He will be joining Rudy Van Buren and our 2 sim racing heroes. And to an extent, you can say that I've met both of these guys, because I've never met Rudy in person, but I've talked to him so many times. You guys have talked to him on the show as well. And I've met Enzo Benito in person, and they're both great guys, which is so fantastic. And you know what? Both of these guys are in the top 10 sim racers on Earth. So it's really cool to see how the cream really does rise to the top. And put them there. And I hope they surprise the world. You know, before they even get going, I'm just going to say, what a challenge. As great as they are, they're not going up and just against some pro racers. They're going against champions. So best of luck, guys. I'm sure you're going to look good out there. Hopefully you'll do better than we all even expect. So have fun is the main thing, and I'll be watching if I can find it in time. I know that it will be streamed live on the Race of Champions Facebook page Not sure about time and time zones and all that. It could be going on very soon. Actually, I think it's starting like now. Next up, and let me just get through things because we're already running long. These shows are getting longer and longer, so much to cover, but it's great. And I know it's not all dedicated to sim racing, but it all does touch upon what we do, and a lot of us are gamers beyond sim racing. But here's an article at PC Perspective. I know a lot of you out there are huge VR fans. This is a write-up on the Tobii eye tracking built into the VR headset. And so now it's a combination of all sorts of tracking methods. And as much as I didn't gripe about head tracking with the VR compared to track IR, I still wanted it to follow my eyes. But this is what we could be looking at the next gen being... Oh, it's live on the UK... In the UK on Sky Sports. ROC is live right now. So I got to get off the air so I can watch, and I got to get back to other work. So anyway, if you're into this, you can check it out. But this is the future. This is the future right here. Oh, this is great. You got to go check out Jay Leno's Garage. But Jay Leno's Garage is running PlayStation in VR. So you want to see Jay Leno. And at this point, you got to love Jay Leno. The guy just loves cars. He is so sincere in his love for cars and motorcycles and automotive culture. And that makes him a hero to me. So go check that out. Real quick, and I have the link here in the description. I'm not going to go into detail. A few people have sent me this video, but it's a whole article on detailing tips. A lot of us have cars we love beyond our sims. But this is good tips on just how to and how not, and how to cut some corners and how to do it right as far as detailing a car, whether you're talking your loved car, a show car, a race car, whatever. You can check that out. This is Mark Priestley. This is sent in to me. MP18, driving one of the world's most advanced simulators at Cranfield University. So if you want to see somebody taking a dream ride, you can check that video out. Also, you know I have the link to the description at the simpit.com. But, very cool video. I mean, I would love to go do this. Lucky guy. Looks like he had a lot of fun. And you can check out what a real good F1 simulator looks, sounds, and feels like to drive. Alright, we're almost to the end. Here's a cool article on Yahoo Finance about a startup company that is doing a VR workout thing. So, any of you who are cycling fans know what the Peloton is, and it's the stationary bicycle that you can work with trainers, you can work with maps, you can ride the real tour route, supposedly. And when I say ride, it gives you the tension or the resistance in the pedals as if you were doing those same routes. This is a whole workout plan using a VR helmet and using various different things to encourage you to go faster and try harder. So this is VR being incorporated into real-life routine. You know, you wouldn't want to ride a horse for real working out with a VR headset, but you would want to ride a horse, I suppose, doing that. Anyway, kind of a cool concept and idea. And that takes us to the end of the main part of the show. One thing I do have going on, I got my time right. It's actually Sunday, not Saturday, at 6 o'clock for the it's the Major Series Pacific Division, the Classic Daytona 2.4. And I'll be in the Audi 90 running for 2.4 hours against those Nissans. And it should be a pretty fun, exciting race. That's going on Sunday. And I just want to give a shout out to the Major Series because it's one of the premier racing series in the world. And all their races are televised. Or not all, but a good portion of the races are televised. And I'm very much looking forward to start racing with those guys. That's coming up right away. Beyond that, like I said, all the stories to everything I did talk about here on today's show are at thesimpit.com. So if you go to simpit.com, you'll see the link. There's the Atari 2600. Later, we'll have the video added to this link, but if you scroll down, here are the links. You can go check out the Scott Speed Pisses People Off article. You can check out any article that you want and that we've talked about here today. So that's going to do it for today's Friday. Actually, a couple more things real quick. Tonight at 6 p.m., we have the McLaren F1 GTR race at Spa on Sim Racing System. That is tonight at 6 p.m. That's race number 2, week 5 in that series. Beyond that, Wave Impetus. It's still in the works. It's almost done. I'm trying so hard to get that done for you guys. And we will get that out right away. And then beyond that, tomorrow morning at 10, I'm going to have a special video with the patron members only, so it's not taking away from the main show, but I want to talk about the patron perks. I want to add a few perks to the list, and I want to give a few rewards out to the group that have been there. So tomorrow at 10 a.m., that is in 35 minutes from now, tomorrow morning, I'd like to meet you guys on Discord. I will be live on video, and we're going to have a chat about the patron program. I'm going to send an email to that group with a link to the description of the show so that they can get in on the live stream. So that's going to be fun, and we'll talk about rewards and all the great things we have going on there. And most importantly, I want to hear from you guys as well. So we're going to get to that tomorrow morning. Beyond that, have a great weekend, everybody. I got more. Mitchie's going to be streaming some R Factor right now, I believe, so you can go over to his channel. Beyond that, I'll be back at 6 p.m. with my Sim Racing Systems McLaren F1 GTR Series. I might do a practice session tonight in iRacing for that race on Sunday. Maybe I'll stream that, maybe not. Working on the Wave Impetus review. Be back tomorrow morning with the patron group, and then back Sunday night to stream that race. So a lot going on over the weekend for us. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope you get yourself out on the track. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.